Oh, God. Oh, no.
That's an amazing one. That's great.
Oh, no. I'm sorry, folks.
I can't wait to audiogram that out.
I didn't mean to do that. I was just took a drink of my energy drink, and this is a horrible timing there.
That's amazing.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 64 Bits of Rage. I'm Ariel Kahunitz.
I'm Anthony Schultz.
And before we do a deep dive into our awesomeness, we got some pretty exciting news going on here.
Yeah, so we finally built our studio.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for how many months now?
Probably since the beginning of the year, or close to it.
Yeah, because we had ideas and stuff, and just, the schematics are trying to get it cleaned out. Obviously, we thought we had to get replacement glass for the door and the window. But we actually lucked out, and it had glass in it. It was just covered.
Yeah, so as it's warming up and stuff, everybody was kind of outside. Ollie was playing, and we had the dogs out, and Ariel was playing with Ollie and stuff, so I decided to crack into just a little bit of cleaning was kind of my intention.
Yeah, just a little bit. Organizing, getting stuff ready to go down in the basement.
Exactly. I figured it was going to be a process that I would just slowly crack into over the course of like several weeks and then kind of see where we were at once I was done cleaning and organizing.
Exactly.
But I accidentally snagged a bit of cardboard that was on the back of the door window, which we thought was either completely gone or shattered.
Yeah.
It was covered up with wood and the cardboard backing. But it was intact. And so that kind of propelled me to really crack into it. And over the course of 2 days, I ended up...
Which we thought was going to take a lot longer than 2 days.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. I was able to shop vac everything out, get everything organized, put things into storage in our sub-basement that we needed to. Recycle.
Most of the decorations and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Recycles, some of the stuff that we didn't need or throw away things that we didn't need, stuff like that. And then the following day we moved furniture out and I ran electricity out and yeah, it's set up. We're using it right now.
It's our first podcast in the studio, which is legit as shit.
Yeah, Studio 1A, 2B, 3C.
Gotta comment what that means, yo.
Yeah, if you get the reference, please comment or tweet at Merhobbit or at Anthony R. Schultz.
Yeah, if not, we'll say what it means anyways, regardless.
We'll do it the next episode.
Yeah. So what's cool is I have my little corner, which we were just joking because Anthony has so much shit.
I do have a lot of shit. I'm an eternal collector, and I'm also...
Yeah, I thought I was a collector. Dear Lord.
Yeah, no, I totally am. And then I've got a good,
couple years ahead of me.
Yeah, I got, 2.5 more years of collecting.
Yeah, because I have my little corner, which has my desk, because I'm working from home, so I have my work stuff there, but then I have my art stuff, which is legit out here, so I can paint and, just have time to get away and actually focus on art, not have to worry about a toddler trying to touch my paints.
Yeah, and
he's
I've done
very inquisitive.
The same kind of thing too, like late in the evenings, where it's like I'll do my Latin lessons or work on coding or something, or the podcast even.
Yep.
And it's just me and
that, and Anthony has his desk back out here, or back in the house, so
Yes, I can actually use my desk.
I'm not
my office space.
Driving him insane with that. But at the same time, I work at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I worry about waking up Ollie and Anthony, and it was just starting to get a hassle. So it was kind of nice to. That's not why we cleaned out the shed to get my office going, but to get.
Yeah, we planned on doing the studio over the course of the summer. Anyways, it just happened
sooner.
Yeah, a good. Month or so than we thought we would even start.
Yeah, exactly. Because we were going to wait till it got a lot warmer. Because obviously it's May, so it's May showers, spring flowers, so...
Yeah.
Or something like that. Good. But, and the only thing is with the small...
April showers bring May flowers.
Yeah, I know, shut up. I realized I said that backwards. The one small window in front of my desk is the top pane is broken out, but we sealed it up with weatherproofing.
Yeah, for right now. And I will eventually... order a pane of glass and then install it.
Yeah, but right now you can even tell it's storming and windy right now, and it's not even a breeze in the shed.
Yeah, it's really nice in here. We have like a little space heater too that does a good job.
Because obviously we gotta insulate, and we're doing like thermal cork or whatever, and thermofiber, and
which is awesome because if you use like traditional fiberglass insulation, you can't have exposed walls. And I've been kind of running point on like aesthetic, and I want the walls
The beams, yeah. The beams at least.
Yeah, so what we're going to end up doing is treating all the wood available that needs to be treated for mold, just in case.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to stain with like a honey pine on the ceiling, because the rafters are really cool in here.
Yeah. Obviously it's built in the 40s, so it's done really well.
Exactly.
It's like shiplap, giant fucking wood. It's just gorgeous.
It is gorgeous, yeah. And so I wanted to really accentuate kind of like the architecture of it, because it is really well done. So we're going to stain the rafters, and then I'm going to stain all the studs, and then we're going to put in thermofiber, which is soundproof, so we should have even better sound quality for podcasting as well as streams. And then, it'll kind of make all the wood pop and stuff with the stain on top of it. And the insulation's fire retardant as well.
Yeah, be insulated and stuff for the winter time. But we have the little space heater, which will be nice, and then which we'll probably have to move off from up top of the shelf down on the floor to heat up.
Yeah, eventually.
Eventually,
we'll probably need a larger one.
Yeah, and then
but right now it suffices though.
My parents are rich and cool enough for giving us a floor AC, so that will save us some money there. But no, it's super exciting. Like, it's obviously our first podcast out here. You know, super exciting to do. Finally, just have a dedicated space, like for me to come to work and for us to work, or you to kind of get away if you need to do something.
Yeah, it's great to come out here. It's like I can talk with my best friend John and the co-host for FGG, and we can catch up and stuff to kind of talk about the day. And then we did it the other night. I had one of the dogs out here with me, and had a drink, and as far as like an energy drink.
Yeah, it's like soda.
I don't drink.
Yeah.
And work on some like coding projects and stuff, and talk to him about video games. And Leia was just curled up in a ball on her bed and stuff.
Yeah, and then like I tried out and brought Normie and I here with me for the first time, and she's a little nervous, so I had to pull the dog bed closer to me, but she, snuggled in and slept while I worked. So
yeah, it was super nice. Like, and I could totally picture, or I will, not even like imagine, but coming out here like going through comic books and stuff.
Yeah, you got to organize your little comic book shelf and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's my tens of thousands of comic books.
Really, yeah, we haven't even. I know it's like ticking off projects and stuff, and there's like the one space in the house that hasn't been touched yet is Ollie's closet, and it's like,
I know, it's the only thing.
Because we have to
everything else has been redone.
Yeah, because we have to put his old baby clothes in the basement because we're gonna keep them, and just stuff like that. It's like,
yeah, reorganized because he's got all the like board games and stuff in his room, which will probably stay in his room so he can be used. But
yeah, but obviously easier access and clean up and shit like that,
Yeah, well, we got, and there's more comics in there too.
Yep.
I think I'm out here.
Yeah, true.
Stack them down here.
That'd be cool. But anyways, so kind sir, what is our episode about? What are we talking about?
So today, I'm kind of running point as far as like topic is concerned.
Which is weird for 64 bits.
It is, yeah. Usually I do just for Rage Quit, not for 64 bits of Rage. But I kind of wanted to talk about some of the Switch releases coming out or that have been announced. Specifically, the Bioshock Collection and the Borderlands Handsome Collection.
Sir, it's gonna be super exciting.
I know.
It sounds like a weird French maid going on there.
I
have issues, cancer.
But we'll dive into the Borderlands collection.
Yeah, which is super freaking exciting because I've seen you play Borderlands, and I play with you with Borderlands too. So.
Yeah, you played the first Borderlands with me, Borderlands 2, and Borderlands 3.
Yep.
So Borderlands 3 is not included in this collection. That is the newest.
Yeah, that makes sense. So.
But it will have Borderlands 2 and Borderlands the pre-sequel.
Which is cool.
Included. All of the add-on content for both games, adding hundreds of hours of gameplay at incredible value. This is from the Nintendo.com website, by the way.
Yeah.
Cooperative gameplay for up to 4 players online. And then it also says here, just to kind of note so that listeners know, it does not include the Commander Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary add-on. That was the free DLC that was added, the E3 before Borderlands 3 release. And bridges the gap between 2 and 3.
Those ones.
Just that one.
It makes sense because they're essentially newer, so they want to be on there because a lot of Nintendo's porting over quote-unquote older games, so...
Yeah, and Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel were on the PS3 generation.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. I don't know about the tech feasibility to get Borderlands 3 over. Just because It ran a little glitchy at first when it released on new consoles, so
Which happens, and then obviously they fixed it.
And hardware-wise, the Switch isn't nearly as powerful as its Microsoft and Sony counterparts right now.
Yeah.
Which doesn't, I mean, you don't need to be a powerhouse to be a great console by any means.
No.
But it might not be feasible to run without just really chopping off a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no,
they
definitely.
may not want to do.
Well, that makes
Borderlands
sense,
is
though.
known for content.
They really are.
Very content heavy. But I'm excited to play through them again. I think it's really cool. That's one of those franchises that there's a few of them, not all of them for sure, but it doesn't bother me to have multiple consoles or multiple copies on multiple consoles and be able to kind of switch back and forth.
Because we've talked about like the artwork and the aesthetics and stuff and the gameplay, and since I think they have that such unique artwork, it stands up to the newer generations of consoles and stuff because it's so unique and is able to be playable on multiple generations and multiple.
Yeah, and it might have been, if I'm remembering correctly, episode 14 of Rage Quit, where we were able to talk about like cel-shaded graphics and the longevity of it.
It's really cool. No, but it's super exciting though for Borderlands to come onto the Switch. Like we've been talking about before, it's really cool how they've been porting such either big games or just games in general over to the Switch.
Yeah, when we were kind of doing our test recording, when you were on the inside of the house, I kind of had like a little bit of a realization, but the Vita used to be that. The Vita was very much like a handheld system only, but it had a lot of like great ports and stuff on it for the tech at the time. Or they ported over from the Vita later to like consoles and stuff, so you could play them on like a home console, like Assassin's Creed Liberation and things like that. But the Vita did a really good job of offering like a console gaming experience, and then it also had ports of a lot of like PS2 games and stuff, like the Prince of Persia games, at least the latter two in the original trilogy, not the original trilogy.
The original of the originals.
Exactly. But the PS2 Prince of Persia's Warrior Within and the Two Thrones are on there, and they were kind of relabeled and like kind of similar to what Nintendo does to get those kind of large games on their console, where they trim the fat a little bit to get it to run on the hardware. The Vita did the same kind of thing, and so
I mean, shit, if they can run like The Witcher on there, Jesus,
I know that's a technical marvel, really. I'm not a huge fan of the Witcher series as a whole, or The Witcher 3, but I do know the technical prowess of that game and how well it was constructed. So the fact that and how much there is to it that it can run on the Switch is amazing, and that's a great example. And so it's cool to see that it like Switch has kind of really come into its own alongside its amazing first party offerings.
Oh, I know.
But they're able to do these like last gen or even some current gen titles in a collection or a port.
Because I think the last thing you had was essentially the Wii U, right?
And the Wii U is the one we don't have.
Yeah.
Probably won't get
because it was lame. But the Wii or the Wii U, and then it was a little more impossible to be able to port big games. Obviously, you'd have some third-party studio games or AAA games, but it's mainly essentially just Nintendo's names on them.
Yeah, and Nintendo, the last two generations prior to the Switch, has really tried to
be technical.
Well, like try to court third party relationships to get those kind of games on it, but they are usually so dumbed down or trying to shoehorn in motion controls, which was nifty for the time for the Wii.
Yeah.
That they just had difficulties because they used to be the third party powerhouse.
Exactly.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
You talk about the Super Nintendo or 64 or GameCube. It's they got a lot of third party support.
Oh, yeah.
The original Final Fantasies were on Nintendo. It's that's not by them. It's but everybody knew at the time, at least, not now per se.
Yeah.
It was you were gonna get Final Fantasy on a Nintendo console,
yeah,
not a
Sony. Now it's more Sony related, but.
And same with we had talked about at the top of the podcast how I'm an eternal collector. With our 64, I've been collecting old PC games that were ported to the N64. So it was
you're super ecstatic about.
Yeah, because there was a brief moment in my gaming history when I had a gaming PC in the late 90s, and a lot of those are kind of locked away. So you'd have to run a legacy PC Let's run Windows 95 to be able to play it. Or hope that there's, like a Good Old Games or a Steam port of an old game. You know, some studio has taken it under their wing. But instead, I can play it on, the N64 in particular, or the Sega Saturn.
Exactly.
Which was really unusual. It's like those two consoles in particular had a lot of PC ports from that era when I was PC gaming.
Which is cool. And now you can actually dive into it because the Switch has... the old school, the shop or whatever on there, and in that regards, I can play, NES or Super Nintendo games that I don't have, and they're a little harder to come by, and
exactly.
Or extremely expensive. You're not paying hundreds of dollars to get a game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's only certain cases that I will go that route. But, it's kind of nice to see. I mean, it really has kind of like replaced the Vita, and they have excellent third-party support this generation. So it's cool to see stuff like Borderlands on there.
Yeah, it is. It's legit. Can you take a side note here and talk about how you no longer look like a woolly mastodon?
Oh, yeah. I did. I got a shave. I got a shave and a haircut. And I lost 10 years somehow. Everyone always says I look... Not necessarily baby face, because I don't have a baby face, but I look very young.
Yeah. Like, I'm robbing the cradle, you're older than me. The funny part is I was straightening my hair, so we're just going to dive into the story because it's hilarious. And I was straightening my hair, and he came in, obviously, and I was thinking, like, I wonder how long your beard is straightened. So I straightened it, and there was, like, a bunch of really crazy, criggly ones. I'm like, I was going to trim it. So I trimmed it, but it ended up squaring it. Yeah,
you just still squared the bottom of my beard, and it looked awful.
I didn't mean to square it, but it's just how it happened. And then you shaved it off, and then you had your really, really long hair that you've been going for over a year.
Yeah. So Ariel gave me a haircut that evening.
And Ollie kept asking, "Where's Dad? Where's Dad?"
Yeah, I know. I was asking over and over and over again.
It only took him like a day or two to get used to it, but it was really, really, really funny.
Yeah, I look like I'm in my early 20s.
Yeah,
I look exactly the same as I did when I was 21, which is funny.
Folks, we hate him, so that's cool. That's cool.
That's what everybody says.
I know.
It's like, what the fuck, man? Go back.
Go back.
Go back. No. You're making us look bad.
I know, right? I don't mind you not being a woolly mastodon. We had the woolly mastodon phase. It's kind of nice to give you a kiss and not eat a beard.
Hermit phase.
Or a mustache.
I like the hermit phase.
The hermit phase. Yeah. But, side note, it's just funny to bring that up before we dive into our next topic of Bioshock.
I'm excited to, on a similar note, start streaming again.
I know, right?
Because it's, completely different.
Yeah, well, that and your headset's not getting caught in your hair, or...
No, don't worry about that at all.
Your beard's in the way.
Which is fantastic.
Eating a mustache, trying to eat soup, things go awry.
All the awryness.
So now, Bioshock, which is I'm so excited for...
Yeah, that one I'm the most excited for. Yeah. I'm definitely a big Borderlands fan.
But we're a bigger Bioshock fans.
Absolutely.
Way bigger.
Yeah, I mean, when I say on social media, people, specifically Twitter, asking what your favorite game is of all time, 9 times out of 10, the first thing that pops in my head is the original Bioshock.
Yeah.
And they're all superb. And so it's Bioshock Infinite, for me, kind of jockeys in there, too. Yeah. Bioshock 2 is a great, transition. And
a prequel, essentially, which is legit. No, my brain stopped working again. Oh, it's always bad. Mm-hmm. Because obviously with you have the original, not the original Bioshock, because you bought the PlayStation 3 for the Bioshock, but it only came out on...
It was a timed exclusive for the 360 for a year. Mm-hmm. So when I went to go... The PS3 was the first console that I bought on my own, and I got it as it came out. It was the first time that it happened.
Yeah.
And I did that with the PS4 as well. We did it with the Switch. Mm-hmm. Yeah, adulthood and money. Woohoo! But I specifically, I didn't know this at the time, but I wanted Bioshock and I wanted Assassin's Creed.
Yep.
And that's why I was getting a PS3. I didn't realize that Bioshock was a timed exclusive, and so it wasn't available yet.
So you got...
I ended up getting The Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Mm-hmm. Not a great choice. That was recommended to me by the GameStop guy.
Yeah, because he's like, if you like this game, you like this game situation.
Yeah, if you like RPGs, you absolutely love this. Mm-hmm. So I was like, never played this before, awesome. And it blew my mind when I first started playing it. Yeah, because that was the first Bethesda game I had ever played. So I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. And I'm sure we'll cover that in like a Rage Quit episode where we talk about Fallout and Elder Scrolls. But,
and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so I had to wait. But I did get the original Bioshock for the PS3, which I still have. And I got the collector's editions for Infinite and Bioshock 2.
For the PS4.
In that scene. No, PS3.
PS3.
They all came out that generation.
I think you got them right before, because we got together at the latter half of the PS3, at the beginning of PS4.
It was we got together like right after the PS4 came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like November the PS4 came out.
And we hadn't gotten it yet.
We had our first date like the next March.
And so we hadn't gotten it yet, but you had the PS3, and so you showed me Bioshock, because like we was obviously getting to know each other and everything. I'm like, this is the best game ever. And I think that next holiday I got you the giant Funkos of Songbird and a Big Daddy.
Yeah, which we still have. Which fluctuated in price again. They're like dirt cheap now.
Oh, fuck that.
There was just that in-between phase where those Funko Pops were worth like $100. I'm sure they'll go back up eventually, but...
Yeah, because obviously people are...
They vault those now, too, like Beanie Babies and stuff like that, other collectibles, which is funny.
Which is funny because my mom's been cleaning out their shed and stuff and found a bunch of my Beanie Babies. And
I used to have a ton of those, too.
I know, right?
Yeah.
The 90s, glorious day.
But Funko Pops are definitely like kind of that nowadays.
The Beanie Babies are coming back.
They are coming back. I have quite a few on my desk that I got from just the corner store.
Hey, because I like
the mystery boxes.
I like my little stuffed animals.
And they have the little hard, like plastic ones now too.
Yeah, which I have above my desk right here in the studio.
Yep.
A home, a seal, and a Dalmatian.
Yeah, because they have those mystery boxes.
Yeah, because we have 2 Dalmatians. One's in the front porch, just kicking it.
Yeah.
And then I have one in here, so which is cool. But yes, no, it's super exciting. Are they bringing the whole collection too?
I have it up here. I believe they are because all of those games were...
They're older now.
Last gen.
And
I think it's just they're porting over the collection. So yeah, it'll have Bioshock Remastered, and I'll just read this. This is also from Nintendo.com. Bioshock Remastered, explore the undersea city of Rapture, a haven for society's greatest minds that has developed into a dystopian nightmare wrought by one of man's hubris. Bioshock 2 Remastered, see Rapture through the eyes of Subject Delta, a fearsome Big Daddy prototype on a life-or-death mission to rescue his missing little sister. And then Bioshock Infinite, the complete edition, indebted to the wrong people, private investigator Booker DeWitt must take on the impossible task, travel to a flying city above the clouds, and rescue a woman named Elizabeth. So it looks like it has kind of everything.
I think we talked about this before.
And it has all the single-player add-on content. And I have a feeling it's phrased that way specifically because Bioshock 2 was online.
Yeah.
It had not the single-player campaign, but it had a multiplayer component, which obviously was not included in the original collection release for the Xbox One and PS4. So they're just kind of hedging their bets and making sure that people don't think that for whatever reason the multiplayer component is included from Bioshock 2
No,
in the
that'd be
Switch
a
collection.
pain in the ass to do. Especially for an import.
They've done it, but that studio doesn't exist anymore. So there is a new studio working on a new Bioshock game.
Which is so cool that they're coming out with another one.
It's very cool, yeah. I'm glad that they didn't leave that on the table.
Uh-oh.
I think they gave it long enough time to breathe for sure. But because since Ken Levine, the mastermind behind the Bioshock series, is no longer attached to it. But
that's weird. Anyways, well, I think the one that's my favorite, Ken Levine didn't even do, was Bioshock 2.
Yeah, he didn't do that one.
And that was my favorite one because that's like a prequel where you play as the Big Daddy.
It's not a prequel. It is after the events of the first Bioshock. Rapture has fallen even more. As far as like the flashbacks and stuff, they do.
Oh, it's okay, yeah. I don't know why my brain stopped working on that. So they have flashbacks. It's essentially a prequel. It shows you what happened, how it got started.
Yeah, they take like they definitely fill out the overarching story a lot more by discussing Tannenbaum's influence over. I would say Jack Ryan, but
that's not right.
Andrew Ryan. His influence was more discussed in the first one, and his like antithesis was Tannenbaum. And so they discuss her motives and like the Big Daddies and the little sisters a lot more in depth into. But it is a few years after the first game, like the moment to moment gameplay. And so Rapture has fallen like more into decay, which is kind of interesting.
No, and it's really cool to see. But anyways, like I was saying, that one's my favorite. Like it goes Bioshock 2, Bioshock, and then Infinite. Infinite's my least favorite, but it's so vastly different. And I understand why, because the timeline comes into play and all that. But it's like...
Yeah, I mean, it really opens up for a lot of people to do a lot of different things with, which is kind of cool.
Well, no,
like other people now besides Ken Levine can run with it because of what he did in Infinite, which is cool.
No, and I agree with that completely. And like I do like it for his game, but to me, it doesn't necessarily feel like a Bioshock game.
It is a lot different for sure. The aesthetic and the atmosphere doesn't scratch the same itch as the original two.
No, because obviously with the powers and stuff, it's a drink instead of, you ejecting yourself, which is funny.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And then obviously you can always throw in that argument of, well, it's a different timeline, it's a different parallel universe.
A lot of the complaints you have about it, a lot of people had the complaints when it released. They were like, it's more gameplay heavy, it's more first-person shooter oriented, it's more combat heavy, and really the story and the atmosphere is what drives Bioshock.
Yeah, it's not as significant, which you figured it would be.
Yeah, and it's like, it is to a degree, but it is far more subtle because it definitely is another transitional piece to open up that universe or create that universe with the multiple timelines and parallel universes that all exist at this, I'm going to use like quotes here, which you can't see, or air quotes, but exist in the same time.
Yeah. And like I said, it is a good game. I'm not saying it's a bad game. It's just not my favorite.
And for me, it's one of my favorites just because of the story. I love the twist ending and what it sets up. And then some of the best DLC, too, where you get to play as Elizabeth in Rapture.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, though, it's like with obviously the big tie-in and the ending of Infinite, it does tie it into the Bioshock universe. But at the same time, like, obviously we were talked about, it just doesn't play like it.
No, it doesn't. It definitely is more combat heavy than... and then I would say that the first two, especially the first one, is more like survival horror.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're in an unknown place that's very creepy, and it's like there's a lot of horror elements to it, and then it's surviving.
Yeah.
You don't know why you're there, and you don't really have an option to be elsewhere.
Yep.
So you're just trying to survive in this city that you didn't even know existed, that has obviously fallen into ruin without anyone knowing, except for the city's inhabitants, So it's like...
Yeah,
it provides that
they're
horror
already
spin
batshit
to it.
crazy, so they're not going to tell you.
Yeah, Infinite is definitely more metaphysical in the sense, and less... It has some scary moments, but it's not necessarily scary. It's more political and like social commentary.
There's some jump scares, but not a whole lot, obviously. Obviously, when you interact with certain, like, the crow people, obviously it's a little scary. Because, oh, shit, crow people.
Exactly. Well, and the horror elements are almost all rooted into, like racism or bigotry or something. But that's what makes it... scary.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, these people are fucked up. Like, it's very much like I think Outlast is a good example. The first one is very much like survival horror, and like you're scared like moment to moment because something's chasing you and you can't fight in that game. And so it's hiding or getting around like these crazed enemies kind of a thing since you're in an asylum. In the second one, however, more combat and game mechanic focus as well, but it's like the religious context and the cult context that makes it scary.
Exactly.
Infinite and the original Bioshock follow the same kind of trend.
Yeah, I'm still excited though, because like, God, we played that game every Halloween, which is funny. At least the first two.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, I love the Big Daddies, which are two super... They just crack me up. They're awesome.
Big Daddies are great. Some of the best enemies like ever created, or just characters, because not necessarily they're enemies, but
no, they're not necessarily enemies. Obviously, you do it to save the little sisters. Obviously the difference in if you want to kill them or whatever, harvest them or whatever the situation is. But obviously, with the second one, you play as the alpha. Obviously, they're very original Big Daddy and. Kind of go from there.
Yeah, and so the Big Daddy becomes,
more
instead
meaningful.
of an enemy from the first one, it becomes more humanized, and then that's the protagonist, the second one, which is really cool.
And obviously the big difference between the first and second one in Infinite is the main characters don't talk. Booker talks.
Booker talks quite a bit, yeah. And the other ones definitely suffer, not suffer, that's a bad way to put it, because there is a place for it, but silent protagonist to a very vocal protagonist.
Exactly.
And silent protagonists, a lot of people have misconceptions that they can't grow or that they're automatically flat characters. However, that's not true.
Especially like Alpha and like the original Andrew Ryan's like son, it's like they grow as characters.
They absolutely grow as characters, but instead of personal growth through like conversation or like filtered events, it's the environment that provides character growth.
Yeah.
It's the situations that the player character perceives is what changes the silent protagonist.
Yeah.
So they still grow, but just in a different way.
Yeah.
But they still have a character arc, or can.
Exactly.
So I think a lot of people just assume that because
they're silent, they can't.
There's no growth, and it's like that's not necessarily true.
But then you get to think on the flip side too. You get characters who talk.
Who don't grow.
They're
very flat.
They're just very fucking flat, and just like, okay. Well, what game was it we were playing? Arno. Assassino, Arno.
Oh, Assassin's Creed Unity.
Ugh, God, he was so flat.
He was incredibly flat. I've talked
and didn't grow. He was so flat. I hate that game. Arno.
With John, my FGG co-host, and we're huge Assassin's Creed fans and debate on it quite a bit. I mean, our favorites are usually the same ones, but there are some where he absolutely
vastly
hates
different.
and I absolutely love. Unity comes up quite a bit in our discussions, though, and I didn't find that to be a horrible one, but I find it very forgettable.
Yeah.
Which means the writing wasn't that great. Because we did everything in that game.
Yeah, because you were
except for the
multiplayer.
multiplayer. That was it.
Yeah, because you're a platinum whore.
Yeah. And so I did everything that you could possibly do in Unity. I don't remember the story at all. And I don't remember, like, Arno's character at all.
No.
But I can think of older ones.
Well, even newish ones, too.
That I relate to the characters a lot more. Or it's like I see their growth or change, and I remember, like, their personalities.
Exactly.
You know? Even ones I haven't played a ton of that are older, like Aveline in Assassin's Creed Liberation.
Exactly.
I can think of her character arc.
Which,
Arno's
this is like another side note too. People need to stop fucking bringing up the fact that there are no strong female characters in Assassino. Because, like you just said, Aveline.
Yeah, that's one that's like forgotten about, and I have a little bit of an issue with that because... And I've got a good example,
black
too,
woman,
for it.
too, nonetheless.
I know. There's a lot of new people that have latched onto Assassin's Creed because of Origins and Odyssey in particular. Probably more Odyssey now, for sure, because that is the highest selling Assassin's Creed title by far of any of them. And there's a lot of people that social justice warriors. I hate to use it because I'm very liberal myself, but
right, well, you know,
have kind of latched on
fits.
And been like, these people are naysayers because there's a female character like Cassandra in Odyssey, and it's like, there needs to be more female representation, and I agree with like the underlying foundation of that, like where they're coming from. But they are completely negating strong female characters that have been awesome and already in
Assassino,
the Assassin's Creed franchise.
Evie.
Like, what about Evie? Like, Evie was by far the more responsible, the most level-headed of the siblings in that game, and was the powerhouse and really billed as the main character in that, even over Jacob.
Exactly.
And it's like, they don't talk about it because they didn't play it. And they're just going to bitch about the new ones because they're jumping on a bandwagon. That irrits me.
Well, then
Aveline, again, is another one where it's
African-American in the Louisiana area. It's like, seriously, you fucking forget that character.
Yeah, you're finding the vocal minority that's bitching about female characters and latching onto it as if it's the rallying cry for everyone. Do your research
before you fucking...
And it's like, no, there's been Assassin's Creed fans since the franchise started, and we've played with female characters and enjoyed it, and they're written incredibly well.
You take that out of context, that's a very horrible phrase.
Another example I can think of is DC Comics a few years ago, and Marvel was matching at the same time, made this huge big deal about this like gay wedding that was going to happen. It was like an event.
Gay wedding?
And they're like, yeah, they had like two X-Men characters.
This is gonna be like
gay,
very bad of me, but I don't dive into that shit because I don't care. You do, to each their own. But anyways,
But they made a huge deal out of it, and it was all over the place. It was in news outlets, it was, in comic book circles. It was like, this is like the big, comic book event of this year or this sixth season. And I don't mind that. I don't care, per se.
Yeah.
But there's prominent gay characters from like the 90s and 80s.
Exactly.
That they just completely ignored, who are fantastic. Because I was like, what about Apollo and Midnighter?
Yeah, exactly.
I know most comic book people don't know who Apollo and Midnighter are, but they are big comic book characters, and they were Vertigo comic book characters, or Wildstorm, sorry, and they got wrapped up into DC, and in their series, they have been portrayed the same way. They're gay and they're lovers. But it's like they completely dismissed all these amazing gay characters that already existed in favor of changing characters to fit a stereotype because that's what people wanted. That's what they assumed they wanted to do this wedding event. And
another thing, too, it's like Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. Yeah, it's like Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, the gay character. She's more bisexual, but Poison Ivy's played as a gay character.
That's what I mean. It's like, it's just pandering.
Yeah.
You're pandering to a niche audience right now. And it's like, and just in the same way that bandwagon Assassin's Creed fans are pandering to a group that they associate with. And it's like, well, if you knew better, there's already been these amazingly written, strong, like, female characters or gay characters or even male characters that already exist.
Even progressive male characters.
You just don't know of it.
And it's like,
So don't try to preach to the choir what we already know. Like,
bitches be tripping, or think you're cool because like I'm. This is my social angst or whatever.
Exactly,
bullshit.
I am the voice, and it's like, no, you're not, because you don't know enough.
Like the heterosexuals that do the him/her thing.
Yeah, exactly, and it's like, or when there'll be a like perceived social issue, and say it has something to do with like African Americans, and then it's only white people who are complaining about this particular situation, and black people are like, we don't care, like.
We care
but
about
in the serious stuff, that's
like,
actually racism. That it's like you don't know, white people aren't gonna fucking touch it, and it's like, fuck off. Like you're playing a social activist like when it's easy, and that's demeaning.
It is. It fucking is demeaning. Anyways, we'll jump off the political bandwagon here. So what else is coming back to our topic here, to that Switchenheimer?
So there's been some things that have been leaked. Nintendo also canceled their Direct. I don't know if Direct was ever even announced, but they just said that they weren't going to be doing one that they would traditionally do during E3 timeframe.
I think it's more along the lines of the COVID thing. That's probably why it got canceled.
Well, I mean, per se, because it would have been a virtual one anyways, because Nintendo Directs always are. But
well, yeah, but they got to set it up, record it, people were involved.
Which is absolutely true. So it looks like this just broke like 45 minutes ago. But Elder Scrolls Blades will be releasing on the Switch. That's like the mobile Elder Scrolls game that I played. And it's free to download.
That's legit.
Yeah, I thought it was actually pretty fun. It was a good like Elder Scrolls spinoff. Kind of reminded me of like an old school dungeon crawler, which Bethesda has familiarity with because the very original Elder Scrolls were like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's dive into this. This is via Express. The Elder Scrolls Blades can be downloaded and played for free on the Nintendo Switch starting today, which today is...
May 14th.
May 14th of 2020. So by the time you listen to this podcast, which will release Monday
15th,
you can...
18th. 18th.
You can download and play it if you missed out on that news, which is really cool.
Brain fart.
Obviously using this as a stopgap for Elder Scrolls 6. A lot of people are pining for it because Skyrim is on fucking everything and has been out for years now.
God, I know.
So people want something new. I would recommend trying it out. I had fun with it. I mean, obviously it's not as big as Elder Scrolls Online or Skyrim or Oblivion, but it's a fun stopgap. I will definitely be playing it. And it's free. Yeah. So why not?
Why not?
So it looks like there's going to be also a new Paper Mario game.
Oh, that's cool.
Releasing on the Switch, which is kind of cool.
Mario.
Anybody familiarity with Paper Mario?
Nope. I'm not as big of a Mario fan as you are, actually. I've never, besides 64, Nintendo 64 Mario, I've never played another Mario game.
Interested. Yeah, that's a fun series. It's kind of like a sub-series of the main Mario ones, but...
Paper Luigi. What about Paper Luigi? Who fucking forgets about Luigi?
Paper Luigi? That sounds derogatory for some reason. I don't know why.
I don't know what your phrase was earlier.
About Eevee?
You play women with women, as women. Just how you phrase it.
I know.
Yeah. Whoopsie.
And that kind of goes, which we already hit in prior 64 Bits of Rage when we did our
Mario
anniversary one, but this same report kind of mentions that collection of 3D Mario remasters that are coming, which is I'm excited for that as well. And if you missed out on that episode, that's just a couple episodes back, and so you can listen to that one as well, where we sing the song of Mario.
We did sing the song of Luigi.
We did, which is great. And it looks like Pikmin 3, which I'm not terribly familiar with, but I know, which is kind of a popular one.
Pac-Man. I don't know that.
Is a Wii U game.
Crazy ass Pac-Man game you're playing, and I was sleeping, and you're like, listen to this jazzy music. You just fucking bust open the door. What is happening? I'm sleeping.
Yeah, so I have a deep love for Pac-Man.
Because you're a weirdo.
And on the PS3, they had it was Pac-Man Championship Edition, which is super cool.
Pac-Man, nom 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 nom.
And I 100%ed it. Didn't have a platinum, unfortunately.
Oh,
I did it in the evening though. Racked up all the high scores, loved it, thought it was great. It's like a jazzy reinterpretation of the original Pac-Man. You can change music and stuff, styles of the levels. There's a whole bunch of different ones. There's like a score attack and a time attack mode and stuff like that. Pretty nifty though. Handles really well too. Like the controls are great for it.
Yeah.
It's very responsive. There's very little lag, which is awesome. But anyways, they the publisher that does that because of quarantine released or they made free. I think it was already released, but the Pac-Man Championship Edition 2. So yes, I dived into that, which it's not Pac-Man though, which freaked me out because you can attack the ghost, or you can hit them and then you can dive underneath of them and keep going, kind of a thing, which is really weird. But it has some of the best music ever.
Yeah, because you woke me up. I was sleeping because I had to work at 6 a.m. Bust open the door and hand me your headset. Listen to this. Oh, what is happening? Sleeping.
It was amazing. It was so great.
Anyways,
so yeah, Pikmin, which is fairly popular. I've never heard of it. Never really cracked into them. They're gonna do a Pikmin 3 Deluxe Edition. So they're bringing over another Wii U title to the Switch.
Because obviously the Wii U didn't do very well, so they're trying to revamp some of the Wii U games that should have done well.
Which makes sense.
Oh yeah.
There's a couple other kind of leaks.
Your leak.
Released May 12th and is via comicbook.com, which I find it weird that they do video game stuff. But whatever.
You figured it wouldn't be their niche.
I know you think they talk just about comic books, but I guess not. 2 relatively major releases for the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch Lite have leaked ahead of their respective announcements. One of these games is Journey to the Savage Planet. I haven't heard of that one. It's a space set adventure exploration game from publisher 505 Games and developer Typhoon Studios. Before the latter was acquired by
Google. Slash.
Oh, Legend of Zelda never gets
Tornado.
I love that game. I'm still hoping for at least a remaster. Yeah. I don't need a remake of the whole thing, but a remaster would be amazing. Give me trophy support. Give me fucking HD.
You need your fucking trophies.
It's Legend of Dragoon. I need it.
I'm sure you don't.
The other one is Project Re-Fantasy, which is an upcoming fantasy role-playing game from Atlas, the makers of series such as Persona. To make the game, Atlas formed a brand new studio dubbed Studio Zero, which will focus on role-playing games.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
It is super cool. Big fan of the Persona series and Atlas as a whole.
Dude, Persona is a redonkulous game.
Yeah, we'll have to do an episode covering that. Because Persona 5 Royal just came out. Or is just about to come out.
Yeah, because we could kind of do a crossover between the PlayStation and the Switch.
Exactly.
What?
Bullshit. That's kind of it, though. for right now.
I mean, it's been slim pickings, like we've talked about before. You know, I think everyone's doing their best on trying to keep content rolling out. But
even just keeping their moods up to be able to produce content. I mean, that's been another thing too.
Well, that's why, like you said, you're excited to get back into streaming, but that's only because we got the studio going and shit like that. And
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been personal projects that have definitely given me motivation to do other things.
It's been very difficult for everybody. I mean, I'm just lazy. I haven't painted in such a long time, and.
Well, and I haven't streamed in a month, and I've been working on kind of details in the background for the podcast.
Yeah.
But I need to get back to it.
And, we will. I mean, obviously, you get the ones that are... It's a big change for everybody to kind of adjust either your schedule or how you do things when it's done. Obviously, if you have, we're husband and wife, so obviously we're together on our podcast. So other people don't have that opportunity. Like with you, figured out you can record on Discord.
Yeah, and we are
with John to keep it safe.
Making kind of big changes or streamline changes, I should say, for ASInquisitor. So we will be opening up our Discord here shortly. I will have a post for our website about that, and I'll have just an active open link so we can kind of drive people there. But yes, we've been able to use Discord and make sure that we have the proper subscriptions and bots and moderators and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But we can record, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, and it's actually the silver lining is it's made it easier for John and I to record FGG. And, he was able to record on his end, and then I tested out and used the bot that we purchased to record our session as well. We were able to do a 2.5 hour long, which is what FGG usually is, because it's only once a month, podcast about Half-Life Alyx, which he had a lot of experience with because he has a VR setup, and we were able to do it remotely just fine, and it was
crack
great.
Up about his little tiny studio.
Yeah. He's got his own little setup.
Yeah, but little room, smaller than Ollie's room.
It is, yeah. It's smaller than this room, too.
That's sad. Our shed.
Yeah.
Our shed of glory.
But it was kind of cool to do because it kind of bred innovation. It forced ASInquisitor to do things that we normally wouldn't have to do.
I think it's done that with a lot of people. Obviously, you see people who are streaming, even our favorite YouTube shows we watch, like Mike Chin for me for Strictly Downplaying.
Oh, Try Guys.
Try Guys even. And it's they've done amazing. I mean, they've adapted well, but it's
they're producing different and new content, and it's kind of reinvigorated. And we were already interested in both those YouTube channels and watch them regularly. But it's cool to see different content.
It is, and it's
but it's
reinvigorated
focused on the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
But their topic or their mantra for their YouTube channels obviously has not changed.
No.
They didn't pivot from covering food or travel to video games or something.
Yeah, no.
But they're doing it with either archive footage or from home.
Yeah, exactly, from home.
And it's interesting and new. Mikey Chen does story time and stuff.
He
and
still
it's
eats
cool
food,
to hear more about him.
Yeah,
and
he cooks.
And he's talking about,
he always has cooked, but he's cooking other things, showing you how to do them.
Yeah. And kind of showing his other passions and love on top of it, of the paranormal or,
freaky things.
And,
his
travel experiences.
Yeah, hotels
or best
or
travel
food
experiences,
poisoning. And even his personal life, he's surely been a little more open about, too.
Exactly, and that content is, more intriguing. And then same with the Try Guys. It's you see a certain face of them, especially together, because it's very professional and streamlined for YouTube or video content.
But then they're at home.
Now they're all individuals,
yep.
though. They do commune together using, Zoom and stuff, but as, you get their content now
their
is
video,
all separate.
The spicy ramen challenge they did, or the gala thing that they did, or even, their cooking challenge. They had to have their spouses in and help them pick food for them to do and try chopped essential kind of thing. And
kind of get a peek behind, the internet personality, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And even though we're far, far smaller...
oh, God, yeah.
We're doing the same kind of thing is what it comes down to. Using the tools at our disposal and the money we do have to, record better content for FGG or, even better sound for 64 Bits of Rage and Rage Quit. Because of this situation, it is breeding, creativity and innovation.
Which is really cool to see. Everything's kind of fucking crazy. People are fucking crazy. It's nice to see there is still... less crazy people out there.
Yeah, people just trying and adapting. Yeah. And sometimes we definitely don't need COVID-19 for sure.
But
ravaging our country in more ways than one. But try to look at the silver lining, I guess.
It is.
And if it's affected you in a positive way, latch on to the
positivity.
Yeah. And
closest with your family, you know.
Yeah, maybe you're talking to like old friends and old family members that you don't
normally get
normally
time
talk
to
to because you're busy with work and your own family.
With me being able to work from home, Ollie's loved it. He sees mommy way more than he has when I go to work.
Well, we both talked with our respective families more than we ever have.
Well, I mean, I always talk to my mom, but we've been doing that
But
more.
we've seen them far more, and like they've been over more.
They help us out when we can. Obviously, the funny part of me just starting to work from home, my car fucking crapped out.
Yeah.
Anyways,
worked out well.
It did, but you know, it's the positivity we need to think about, and the creativity, finding a hobby, doing a hobby, diving into old hobbies. Shit, like with me, I just dyed my hair, ordered that hair dye from fucking Amazon, and a nail kit. I've been experimenting with doing my own nails. Yeah,
and for me, I've been relearning coding and stuff, which I did in my early days of college when I was like 19, 20. I haven't done it in over a decade, and it's like now I'm getting back into it. I've talked to my buddy about it on as I do it.
I think you've talked to John more than you have since we've been together in 6 years.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's asked about like, hey, when can we record the next podcast and stuff? It's like he's like all over it, you know, and so even that relationship's improved, and we were already close. So
exactly, it is cool. Well, I mean, for that deep dive, folks, I feel that's a good pin to put in it. Great. I'm super excited about. I know you're more for Borderlands, but I'm excited about Bioshock on the Switch.
I'm most excited about Bioshock as well.
Yeah,
more so than Borderlands.
Yeah, because you got your cool controller you can play, and I can play with you too.
Yeah.
Well, the Borderlands one.
Borderlands.
Yeah, the Borderlands one. But
Bioshock, I'm very excited to crack back into.
Mm-hmm. Oh, funny story. So Anthony was playing Assassino. What one was it again? Black Flag.
Black Flag, yes.
And my dumb brain didn't realize he was playing on the Switch. Because he always plays on, obviously just came to the Switch. So the Switch never really had Assassino on it.
No, not really.
And so I'm sitting there fiddling around on my phone thinking, well, I shouldn't be on my phone as much. Put it down. I'm just like, I'll go play some Animal Crossing. Anthony is playing his game. My dumb ass grabbed the Switch. Pull it out.
Right on the dock. I was like, it's just gone.
Because you were telling somebody, and then my dumb brain didn't catch on and said, Anthony, what happened to your... Oh, shit.
What happened to your game? I was like, I was playing on his Switch. I was tailing a guy in the Caribbean.
And then I'm like, oh, shit. That was like the best ever. It was the worst, but the best ever. I felt so bad because I didn't do it on purpose.
No.
And the slide X's, you would have said, you'd like, oh, can I play Animal Crossing? I'm like, yeah, sure. Let me just tell this guy, and then I'll switch games.
Yeah. I just would have switched over to some on the PS4. Or an older console or whatever.
All my brain was thinking is you're playing Assassino, so you're on the PS4.
Which to kind of put a full circle pin in it, the Assassin's Creed Rebel Collection.
Dude.
Like, fantastically well done.
Yeah.
Runs great. It looks great. You were talking about, like, a PS3 Assassin's Creed. 2 PS3 Assassin's Creed, technically. There was a port of 4 to the PS4.
Yeah.
So that was the first one I played on that generation. I haven't played either one of those in years, and I'm having a blast. I'm kind of slowly chipping away in it because I'm finishing Odyssey at the same time.
Like we said with Nintendo, no trophies, so you can enjoy it.
Yeah, and I already have all the trophies that I can have for it. That was one of the multiplayer ones that I don't think I ever really dived into or finished.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's just fun to spend a few hours in that world again. And in Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag in particular, I really enjoy the characters and the world and like how the ship combat, which is really where that kind of blossomed, is handled, and it holds up probably better than any of the ship combat ones in Assassin's Creed since.
Yep.
But it's cool to dive back into it, and they did an excellent. Ubisoft and Nintendo jointly did an amazing job porting that and making it work and like function, and I've had no issues with it, no frame rate drops, no glitches. It looks gorgeous still. So if the Bioshock and Borderlands collections kind of follow suit, it's like I'm gonna have little to no worry about them.
Hey, yep, that would be awesome. Well, yeah, full circle on the full circle though. I think that's everything.
Yeah, that's about it.
All right, I think we'll just kind of wrap it up here. Stay safe, stay sane. Give us a comment on what you like, what you don't like. As always, follow the bear.
Follow the bear. And remember, if you got the Studio 1A, 2B, 3C reference.
Let
Make
us
sure and tweet at Ariel or myself.
Mm-hmm.
Our Twitter information is in the description of this podcast.
Yup.
And I would like to see if anybody
Gets it.
gets it.
Yeah, because we'll be telling it next episode.
Yeah. And the podcast does release on YouTube as well as all other podcast services on the same day. So if you prefer to either listen to this on YouTube or any other podcast service, it's available Monday every week at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
We just straight up narrowed it down to one day a week.
Yeah, they're not divided up anymore, so they're one and the same, so you're not missing or having to wait if you preferred the YouTube version.
Exactly.
So, like I said, if you're listening to it on a platform you normally don't listen to, switch to the one you like.
Exactly.
It's on there. I guarantee you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Always follow the bear.
I'm Anthony Schultz.
I'm Ariel Skahuditz.
Peace.
Bye.